This is Engineering Global Connections, leveraging Adobe Experience Manager Guides for multilingual mastery. I'm Ron Egle, a longtime DITAWORLD attendee and first-time presenter. Let me start by telling you about the company I work for, Ariel Corporation. Ariel Corporation has nothing to do with mermaids or laundry detergent made in Europe. Ariel is the largest manufacturer of separable reciprocating gas compressors worldwide. Ariel is a quintessential American entrepreneurial company. It started in our founder's basement in 1966. Over 5 decades later, the third generation leads the family-owned business, which employs over 1,500 workers in multiple facilities across Ohio, with compressors in over 100 countries worldwide. Here's a short overview to give you an idea of Ariel's role in the global energy industry.
Ariel Corporation, located in Mount Vernon, Ohio, is the world's largest manufacturer of natural gas compressors. For more than 50 years, Ariel's traditions of quality, integrity, and American-made workmanship have produced compressors that have become the world standard. Because of the success and reliability of our compressors, Ariel's products are integral in supporting the infrastructure of the entire American energy industry. Proudly engineered and manufactured in the USA, Ariel compressors are essential in the transportation of natural gas used for power generation, arguably the cleanest source of electricity made available to the global market. Additionally, among many other applications, you can find Ariel compressors fueling the transportation industry of the future with cleaner, cheaper gasoline alternatives. To view our compressors and discover more about why we're so committed to clean, abundant, and affordable natural gas, visit www.arielcorp.com.
To meet the global service demands featured in the video, Ariel provides translation from English into Spanish, Chinese, and Russian. I manage the translation of our website, support portals, technical documentation, videos, and online learning courses. We use Adobe Experience Manager Guides as our component content management system and make use of the XTM connector to automatically integrate our content into XTM, our translation management system, and Systran, our neural machine translation engine. This phenomenal setup is completely automated and allows me to spend minimal time managing our translation operations. In this session, I'll share insights on our journey to develop Ariel's current translation methods and strategies. Let's start by going back to 2018. At this point, our technical documentation was written in Madcap Flare and published to our Ectron CMS. Our translation was handled using Madcap lingo and sending XLIF, terminology, and TMS files back and forth to various translation vendors. This simple description already has seasoned translation personnel shaking their heads. It was prone to problems. Here's how it worked. All the content elements used to create technical content were exported from Flare into Lingo. Lingo created individual XLIF files and packaged them to send to our translation vendors. The translation vendor then translated the content elements and sent us back the XLIF files. The XLIF files were processed through Lingo and individual Flare projects were created with the translated content for each language. We would then generate PDFs for our regional offices to review the content in context. We had conducted reviews via the translation companies sending Word files or utilizing online review portals, but neither of these methods provided in-context reviews. The regional offices would then return the PDFs with their edits and comments, which were manually placed into the Flare document masters and updated in the Lingo TM. HTML and PDF files were generated from Flare, loaded into our Electron CMS, and synchronized with the English content for display on the website. As you can see, we're nowhere close to having the ideal translation process. It was labor-intensive to move files back and forth from our translation vendors, and even more labor-intensive to incorporate the edits into our master documents. We had all kinds of TM quality problems not having a translation management system. Our regional teams were upset with the inconsistency of our translation vendors and the effort it took to review the documents. We lacked the ability to enforce linguistic quality control methods. And translation was expensive. We weren't translating our materials fast enough to meet our support department's expectations. At this time, our IT department had assembled a task force that recommended to company executives the purchase of Adobe Experience Manager Guides and sites to replace our Electron CMS. This recommendation was the result of a year-long effort that conducted an extensive evaluation of the 5 industry-leading CMS and CCMS platforms. We replaced Flare with Adobe Experience Manager Guides, providing Ariel with technical authoring software and a component content management system. It has enabled Ariel to easily create, manage, and deliver technical communications critical to the function, operation, and maintenance aspects of Ariel's highly engineered products. With Adobe Experience Manager Guides and Sites as our chosen enterprise content management system, we evaluated various compatible translation management systems. XTM stood out from the pack, offering in-context reviews, advanced TM features, project management tools, automated workflows, and the ability to provide a single source TMS portal from which our translation vendors could all work on the same centralized platform. The XTM connector to Adobe Experience Manager Guides offered the ability to automate our translation process completely and eliminate all the file handling tasks. 2019 was spent finding partners to implement our enterprise content management system. This transition period allowed us to set up XTM and begin translating in our TMS. We started loading our Flare masters directly into XTM projects and immediately saw improvement in our translation and review processes. We had some resistance from existing translation vendors about working within our TMS portal. This prompted us to conduct a vendor evaluation and concluded by choosing Argos Multilingual as our translation partner and staying with a long-time freelance Spanish linguist. Argos provides us with outstanding linguists and technical help managing our XTM portal. We have a true partnership with Argos in which they supply Ariel with translation technology expertise that other translation vendors might find detrimental to their business. You'll see what I mean as I get into the use of AI in our translation processes. As we conducted content audits and examined website analytics in preparation for loading our content into Adobe Experience Manager Guides, we determined that we'd like to use machine translation for some of our 3rd and 4th level content items. We worked with our regional offices and conducted tests to determine which MT platform would work best with our technical content. We selected Systran, which was easily integrated into our translation processes in XTM. Sistran assisted us in setting up and training the MT engine using the TM and terminology from the TMS. Our last preparation item for our Adobe Experience Manager transformation was to export all of our maintenance and repair manual content pages from our Electron CMS and align them with each language page. To address the process of alignment, we had an AI solution built into our TMS. This process is not always as straightforward as it may appear. There could be many differences, such as transcreation segments, where single sentences in English need to be translated into 2 or 3 sentences in the target language, or vice versa. The Aligner tool in XTM detects these anomalies without any user intervention. The XTM Aligner created a skeleton overlay of the text and assessed the degree of change between the source and the target versions of the documents. It then used the overlay to align each segment automatically. We had some required manual alignment, which was handled by Argos linguists and our regional teams. This was all done with minimal effort thanks to the Aligner tool. To ensure that older TM segments imported from Lingo were accurate, we needed a cost-effective method to conduct an audit and clean up the TM before loading new content. Our concerns were that manual human review of all the translation segments would just be too costly. Our TMs contained multiple and different translations for exactly the same source segment. There were inconsistencies between the corporate terminology and the terms used in the TMs, and we had misaligned segments in the TMs, source segments complete but targets split in half, or vice versa. We turned to Argos, our translation service provider, to deliver an effective method to clean up these old segments. Argos was able to support us with Argos AI TM Cleanup. The Argos AI TM Cleanup uses semantic analysis and compares the meaning of the source and target segments. It then assigns a number that illustrates how close the model thinks the source text varies from the target text meaning. The significance of the numbers can be broken down the following way. Point 0, source and target are the same. Point 1 to point 4, source and target are close, so it's likely to be a correct translation. Point 4 and above, the difference between the source target is large, so segments should be reviewed. The larger the number, the more likely the transition is to be faulty. Argos linguists then worked with our regional review teams to resolve the issues greater than point 4. Using the Argos AI TM cleanup took a fraction of the time for a human to do the same. Here are the results Ariel experienced using this method. It improved our linguistic quality within our projects, gaining higher TM matches. We removed poorly translated segments that misled our linguists and our MT engine. It reduced translation costs since context matches and 100% matches no longer needed to be reviewed. And it increased the quality and efficiency when creating the translation models for our MT engine. The XTM Aligner and the Argos AI TM Cleanup were two AI solutions that yield behind-the-scenes cost savings that get overlooked when dealing with the day-to-day translation costs. Now that you have an understanding of how and why Ariel put together the pieces and resources of its translation operations, let's look deeper into the tools and mechanisms, when put together, create the key aspects for delivering higher quality translations. For Ariel, it starts with Adobe Experience Manager Guides. AEM Guides offers the mechanisms to create projects and files for multilingual content and keeps them synchronized and organized within the CCMS. The XTM connector interfaces the TMS with the translation framework within AEM Guides. The XTM connectors are configured within AEM Guides and connect the source files in a translation project to the project templates within the TMS. The TMS templates are made up of instruction elements that guide the translation files through the TMS workflow and processes. These elements include which TM and terminology should be used, instructions for processing data files. Well, how will matching TM segments be processed for the editor? Will machine translation be used within the project? What workflow will be used? Who's assigned to each step in the workflow? As you can see, the project template controls the translation process throughout the workflow. It places the translated files back into AEM Guides in the proper location for publishing. Your workflow can be configured to your translation needs. We have a number of templates based on the content type and translation workflow. We have workflows that are 100% machine translation and others that include linguists and QA personnel. The next item in our translation process is the TM. The new content needing translation from AEM Guides is broken down into segments, a phrase, a sentence, or a paragraph. The TM is searched for matching segments and loads the matching segments into the editor based on strength of the match. In these segments, tags are placed in areas of the segments that contain styling or elements of code like hyperlinks. The TM first uses AI to retrieve matches from the TM efficiently using a unique algorithm that calculates fuzzy matches by taking into account and recognizing the syntax of the segments in the localization projects, enabling the algorithm to spot matches that normally wouldn't be recognized, such as sentences that differ by the word order, like "For more information, check our website," and "Check our website for more information." Without the use of AI, linguists would have to translate the segment from scratch, although the sentence and their meanings are practically the same. AI is used once again in the step for automatic placement of inline tags. For consistency, everything that's included in the source file also needs to be included in the target file, which are why these tags are required. The challenge comes from the fact that the placement of these tags within the source will likely differ in the target. AI is used to automatically recognize and place these tags in the right place in the target file. We found in almost all instances that the auto inline placement did not require any corrections. This has turned out to be a huge time saver, especially compared to how much time had been spent editing these tags in Flare when using Lingo. Once segments are processed through the TM, the remaining segments are sent to Systran for machine translation, which is displayed as matches in the XTM editor. Our linguists then perform post-editing. As I evaluated the execution of this step, I asked Systran if it was possible to send edits made in post-editing back to Systran via the API to self-teach the MT engine. I was told they are working on a similar idea and would have something soon. In April of 2021, XTM released version 12.7 with XTM AI Enhanced TM powered with Systran NFA, and it offered an AI method in which XTM uses Systran to analyze the segment and complete the translation without human intervention. Here's how it works. The AI enhanced TM sends fuzzy matches to the neural machine translation as reference material. Systran NFA uses the fuzzy match, including the right terms, and completes the sentence using the neural machine translation engine. Neural machine translation uses an artificial neural network to predict the likelihood of a sequence of words, typically modeling entire sentences in a single integrated model. The Systran Neural Fuzzy Adaptation uses the TM information from both the source and target size of the fuzzy matches. It creates a dynamic adaptation from the context and information found in the fuzzy match to be trained on the fly and creates an influence model producing the highest probable translation. This AI process is so powerful because the TM and MT work hand in hand to create the best translation. The quality of the MT gets optimized in real time to save post-editing efforts. Having our TMs validated using the Argos AI TM cleanup was a key to increasing the efficiency of this process. Validated translations from the translation memories help the neural machine translation engine to reduce the translation effort and to increase the consistency over time. Harnessing this powerful AI feature has reduced our post-editing efforts. It has increased the productivity when using MT workflows. It improved our machine translation output. Measurements earlier this year have shown a plus 26 blue point increase. And it reduced our linguists' translation efforts by 31% and improved the quality of our MT translation by 100%. The AI Enhanced TM feature currently works with up to 84% fuzzy matches. In late June, XTM is raising this threshold to 85 to 99% fuzzy matches, which will potentially increase our MT translation by 129%. XTM has hinted that the technology used to achieve AI Enhanced TM may soon be incorporated to achieve cutting-edge integration with OpenAI's GPT technology. If this comes to fruition, we could further enhance our neural machine translation accuracy and usage sourcing large language models as this AI technology evolves. This pretty much concludes the use of AI in our current translation processes. I'd like to finish this walkthrough of our basic workflow by touching on the elements of our TMS that have significantly improved our translation operations. In the post-editing process, I'll start with the terminology tool. If you remember earlier in my presentation, I mentioned that we had a terminology list that was sent to our translation vendors. Well, XTM has a tool for that, a term base. The misuse of our terminology in the old translation method was a pain point for our regional offices. I constantly got complaints about how the translation vendors were not using our terminology list. XTM has the term base feeding into the editor. Defined terms are highlighted in blue for each segment, and the proper translation of the term can be inserted into the target segment with a click of the mouse. My bad, XTM has one more AI feature, and it's related to the term base, the term extractor. Whenever a new localization project is created, the TMS analyzes all the content and finds high-quality terms to add to the term base. The term extractor automatically does all the work when a term gets created through its analysis. Its translation is also included. Our linguists perform a quick review and confirms with our regional offices before any new terms are added. There's a lot of industry lingo used in our content, and its usage demands this extra effort on our part. We have found a lot of time savings by removing the manual tasks associated with finding new terms, translating them, and loading them into the term base. My last item to discuss is the ability of our TMS to do in-context reviews using a visual editor. There's no AI behind this feature, but it's important in getting accurate translations from both linguists and reviewers. The editor interface used for both editors and reviewers contains a visual editor. The visual editor can be kept together on one screen with the segment editor or separated on a second screen. Text editing can then be done in either editor and is instantly displayed in both. DITA projects can also use this feature, but we've encountered graphic display problems. The current connector cannot properly access the images from Adobe Experience Manager Guides. XTM is working on a new connector using API calls, and we look forward to fully enabling this feature in future DITA projects. XTM also includes a video title editor that allows you to edit subtitles on videos played with YouTube. Once editing and review are completed, a final QA check is performed. As you've seen through the walkthrough of our translation process, we have the tools and methods to accomplish quality at source. As with any process, errors occur, and that's why we rely on the QA specialists to run QA checks on grammar, style, and spelling, and to correct any LQA problems detected. With the project files checked and approved, the final step is sending them back to Adobe Experience Manager Guides to be loaded and published on the proper language site. The XTM connector automatically handles all the file handoffs, placing them in the correct location. I'll end this session with a statement made at the beginning. We use Adobe Experience Manager Guides as our component content management system, and we make use of XTM connector to automatically integrate our content into XTM, our translation management system, and Systran, our neural machine translation engine. This phenomenal setup is completely automated and allows me to spend minimal time managing our translation operations. I hope I've given some insights on how you can transform your translation operations to run efficiently and effectively using the latest AI tools in all aspects of your translation processes. Thank you for watching, and I'll turn it over to Stefan and Matt.